What is spiritual service? Wow, that was some spiritual service, wasn't it? This beautiful offering of ourselves. Unity as a movement actually began as spiritual service. The Fillmores put together the Silent Unity service where they were actually praying for anybody who wanted prayer. And they would sit and pray and create a service around prayer. That was how Unity actually started. So I want to dive into spiritual service and what that means. But first, let's talk about what it's not. And I forgot the clicker, so I'm going to have to rely on Nick. Spiritual service is not something that you're forced to do. That's community service. Spiritual service is not always easy. It's not. And spiritual service is something that is not something that will let you maintain the status quo. Everybody agree?
Yes.
Okay. So let's see what spiritual service is. Spiritual service is something one feels a calling to do, even if it didn't start that way. Often it is very challenging. It can be. And finally, it's something that will, I promise, help you grow. I promise. It's a big promise. So who wants to volunteer right now? I just need 4 people, brave souls. Just come up. Come on, spiritual service people. I promise it won't be painful. 4 souls, thank you. So I just have these lovely things for you. Just take one. I only need 4 souls. Thank you. We've got everybody, Barbara. So what I'm going to ask you is, and we can all vote and see if we agree with this, okay? So this is my question for you. Please vote on whether or not you believe serving as a prayer chaplain is spiritual service or simply volunteering. Everybody agree? Okay. So what about painting and maintenance? Spiritual service or volunteering? We've got, okay, that's all right. You guys can decide. What about leading meditations? Spiritual service. And finally, the last one, and this is the real kicker. Are you ready? Making coffee and serving in a kitchen. Spiritual service or volunteering? Could be both. See, it really was painless. So if I were to say that all of those things were in fact spiritual service, would everybody here agree or disagree? Agree? Okay. So the question is, why? Thank you very much. I had 3 beautiful ladies and 1 handsome man. Thank you. So if all of those things are spiritual service, then what is volunteering and what is spiritual service? Where does it come from? How is that determined? So if making a cup of coffee for someone is in fact spiritual service, why? If we put it in this context, let's say right here at Unity of Wichita, and it's the first time you've ever been here, maybe you have a difficult history from your previous faith tradition, maybe you've never attended any kind of spiritual service, how would it feel for you to walk into a space, maybe feeling a little like there's a neon sign on your chest saying, I'm new. How comfortable is it to have someone walk up and simply say, welcome, I would like to get you a cup of coffee. immediately creating an opportunity where this person, who we don't know their history, we don't know what kinds of past experiences they've had, perhaps this is going to be the shift that makes them feel welcomed and loved and wanted. It's a powerful opportunity, and it's just making coffee, right? Just making coffee. I don't think that's a thing anymore, is it? It can't be. So I'd like to share with you, let's go back. I just wanted to see where you were. I want to share with you a moment where spiritual service emerged for me personally out of community service. You know, you have to do community service to graduate in many schools now. Back in the late 90s, I had to, I think it was 300 hours of community service to graduate from Bishop Carroll Catholic High School. And so I, being the rebel that I am, decided not to go with any of the things that were done at the school, and I decided to do it at a different place. And that group was that year offering support to a home that was a housing area for individuals with AIDS and HIV, those people who were ill and who were separated from their families, their friends, who didn't have support, and many of them were there to transition. They were there to die from that particular disease. Now, this was the late 90s, so we didn't know a whole lot about AIDS. We knew enough that, well, it was okay to go and serve in one of these places and work in the yard and maybe even, paint the house. But to me, as a young person who didn't really know, it was scary. It was scary to me because I thought, well, I want to do this because I have to have these hours. But I'm kind of nervous. I kind of hope I don't run into any residents. So as I'm outside working in the yard, the door opens, and out comes this young man. And he was very young. And I'll never forget this experience because he walked out. He had sunken-in cheeks and darkened eyes, and he was by far the sickest person I had ever seen. And truthfully, it did kind of frighten me. I was very young, like I said. And as I'm working in the yard, he makes it down the steps, the front porch. We never actually spoke, but we connected. We looked into one another's eyes, and it was the first time that I truly experienced that awareness of seeing someone else and truly being seen by someone else. This experience of, as I've heard it said before, the divine in me looking upon the divine in you. Understanding that, wow, Jesus really is in me and in you and in you. And in that moment of connection, it was the first time that I experienced somebody saying to me through their gaze, "Thank you for loving me." I was raking leaves. But because this was his sanctuary, this was his safe place to be, and nobody else was doing it who loved him. But here was this young girl who had to be there, who suddenly shifted from an awareness of, I have to be here to graduate, to, I've never wanted to be anywhere so bad before. So that brings me to scripture in 1 Peter. And when I saw this, For you were going astray like sheep, but now you have returned to the shepherd and guardian of your souls. This is 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 25. When I first read that, I said, well, that's not right. That's not right about service. And then I returned to that experience, and my first experience of moving from community service to spiritual service. And I realized that it is that separation from God. It is that separation from our shepherd, if you will, our North Star, that divine presence, God, Jesus, whatever language you choose to use, that guiding force that is the salvation in our souls. It is through that service that I returned to that understanding. Again, I saw for the first time the truth of who I am expressing out to connect with the truth of who you are. Again, connecting us. And moving even further into 1 Peter, where each one should use whatever gift he has received to serve others, faithfully administering God's grace in its various forms. What a beautiful companion that these gifts that we are already inherent with. These gifts of the presence of God coursing through us, trying to emerge. So as we see an opportunity and we say to ourselves, it's just making coffee. Or, I can't lead meditation. Are you crazy? I feel this calling within me to do something. Perhaps it's speaking. Perhaps it's just getting involved in the community and going to volunteer at a food bank. Perhaps it's going to serve food to the homeless. Perhaps it's even just going to sort clothing for another organization. It doesn't have to be here to be spiritual service. It is in our community. That is our mission, that we are inspiring spiritual transformation in our community, not just here. We're inspiring this transformation so that we can truly see the presence of God within one another, and others will see that presence within themselves and within one another as well. As we move into this idea of spiritual service, I would really like to ask your help. In your bulletin, there's a survey. And it asks questions like, why did you first visit Unity of Wichita? You can check the boxes. When I first came to Unity of Wichita, I was feeling disconnected. I was feeling unwanted. And I was just really feeling like I was seeking something that resonated with me. I had explored many faith traditions, and each one gave its gifts to me, but I still didn't feel that I fit there. That's what brought me to Unity of Wichita. Perhaps, go back, please. Perhaps it was a need for feeling lost, seeking spiritual mastery or deepening, seeking community or tribe, having your people with you, the people that you call when you're hurt, the people that you call when you're celebrating, the people that you love. And finally, is it that you're coming for entertainment? You want something to do on Sunday morning where you can have your tribe and you can hear incredible music. There's no wrong answer. But I would appreciate it greatly if you would get out those surveys and fill them out and put them in the offering plate as it comes through. That way, we as a community and as the leadership council and the board can continue to serve this small community as it's getting bigger, because we really do have a vision and a mission for this community to connect with the community at large. We've been talking about it for years, right? So how do we do that? So I want to start with you and share with us what's most important to you. Share with us what most inspires you. It is totally anonymous. I don't remember who writes how. I don't know your handwriting. If you have criticisms, let us know. We cannot improve or create opportunities that help you be inspired, excuse me, if we really don't know. So please share with us, why do you continue to come? Is it because we're all so amazing? You just love me and art so much. Why do you continue to come? And I don't mean Sunday morning, I mean all week long. Why do you come on Wednesdays? Why would you come to A Course in Miracles? What is it that truly draws you? And finally, what is the most important part of your experience at Unity of Wichita? For me, the most important part of my experience at Unity of Wichita is the availability of open and constant communication of love. There are so many people here who are living with so many challenges, yet we come together and we affirm and remember that we are love. What most inspires you? Please share it with us. Because if it inspires you, it too inspires our community. And in that growth of inspiration, we can truly begin to connect, live our mission in a way that serves not just those in this room, but our entire community, moving into our state, our world, that we can transform the spiritual awareness, that our hope is that mass shootings never happen again. Our hope is that we never have another loss of life. Our hope is that we never have a loss of kindness. That's the truth of the spiritual inspiration that we're seeking, is it not? Finally, we'll go to the next slide, please. Meditation in Me is a class for meditating and guiding others that's going to be taught in August and September. If you are feeling just a little bit called to learn how to lead meditation, perhaps in your own home. Perhaps you're looking to lead meditation on Sunday morning or on Wednesday evening here at the church, or perhaps you're wanting to get together in a group out at the park. Whatever inspiration you have rising within you, remember, spiritual service is not always easy. Spiritual service is not going to let you continue in the status quo of playing small. Spiritual service is challenging, but I promise you will be grateful for the growth that you see within yourself. So please join us on the third Sunday for the next 2 months, and I know that we can grow and inspire one another and our community. Thank you so much.